to understand the white man's fears. Like a band, they wouldn't yield.
What's going on, y'all? It's LJ. And that opening was a tribute to vinyl community member Noise Spectrum. And that's Brother Lee up in Canada. And that is Max Webster's Universal Juveniles. Why not? Seems fitting. Toronto Tonto. So this video is a response to celebrate Brother Lee's 1-year anniversary in the vinyl community. I absolutely love Lee's channel. Lee's fantastic. There's a link below. If you're watching my channel, you'd most likely dig, be interested in, and should be watching Brother Lee's channel. And Brother Lee, you know, we connected, I think before you started making VC videos. Somehow, I stumbled on a video you had made, was it shopping in a Toronto record store or something like something. It was like your hands in a CD rack and you were pulling out 4 or 5 CDs. I think I left a comment, you responded, and it was kind of all downhill from there. I don't even think those videos are still available on your channel. And then, you know, from there was some downtown trips through Toronto and in record stores, and you started commenting on my videos. And then some of the videos started rolling where you would do a lot of your showing your records, but you hadn't made an on-screen camera appearance yet. And then finally, of course, within the last year you have, and it's been a hell of a ride. And Lee, I dig your videos. They're kind of like they're dark, they're real, they're grainy, they move along quick, and there's just this massive head full of knowledge, right? And the collection to back it up. It's obvious you've been into this stuff for ages and ages and ages, but at the same time, you still look 16, which just blows my mind. So I've just come to the conclusion that you're a vampire. So anyways, Lee had 3 questions. Answer 2 out of the 3. I'm just going to take a stab at all 3. First of all, he wanted us to show our first 3 purchases, our own purchases, and kind of talk about them. My first 3 purchases, you know, it's funny. I would say around 83 or so. I was still a little kid, so I was wildly influenced by MTV. Whoa, that was new. And I would get gift cards to a local music shop called Strawberries, a local half an hour away. Nothing's local to here. But I would get gift cards there, and I would take that, you know, $10 gift card, whoa, up to Strawberries as fast as I could. And I would usually buy singles. And for the only reason that who knew when the next $10 was coming my way, better get as much music as I can. Buy 1 album? Are you crazy? I'll buy 10 singles. That gives me 20 songs at 99 cents a piece. And I was definitely influenced at that time as a little kid by stuff that was on MTV. So I would undoubtedly would have picked up Culture Club singles, things like that. Or I remember grabbing, man, I loved that song by Chess, One Night in Bangkok. What a deep, moody track that was. And I would grab that. So it was a lot of singles were my earliest purchases. That was around 83, so yeah, I was still a little kid at that point. Moving into the mid-80s, you know, made me around 9 or 10 or so, and I was kind of hanging around with my brothers, older brothers' friends, and that's really where the rock and metal influence kind of started to set in. I also didn't have any money, so instead of purchases, I ended up trading for things, and one of the very first, or the 2 very first albums I can remember trading for, I don't even remember what I traded. I probably mostly just begged for them and got them just to be shut up or pacified. First would be Ozzy's Diary of a Madman, and to this day, I maintain this is a better album than Blizzard of Oz. Not that that's what this discussion is about, but it's probably got more to do with the fact that it was my first Ozzy album. So I would say around 83, 84, probably more 84-ish. I traded for a copy of that with a cat named Rob that lived down the street. And I've talked about him before. And from a cat named Kurt that lived close by, I traded for a copy of AC/DC's Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap. Again, trade could be trade, bag. I didn't swipe it out of his music room. I honestly, I could have traded him a pack of my mother's cigarettes for it that I would have stolen and given him for this. That was very common at the time for parents to smoke. The very first album I can remember getting as a gift or explicitly asking for, and I've talked about this before, is Kiss Alive 2. And the instruction when this was given to me was my mom was not happy about it and it was not to be played loud. That was probably right around the same time, 1984, and it was the influence of my older brothers again and their friends creeping in. I was all of, 8 years old at that point. The one album I can truly remember buying, I had to have it, and I bought it from someone, This was right around that same point is Def Leppard's Pyromania. This was brand new. It blew up. It was huge. My friend Paul got this. I don't know if it was his gift or what it was, but he ended up agreeing to sell. I believe it was sell it to me. And I may have given him my whole allowance for that week. I had to have it. It was an amazing album. My opinion of it has diminished quite a bit over the years. I prefer the first two, but that's where that came from. So you flash forward to around maybe 1985, 1986. I'm 10 or 11 years old at that point, and I would get dropped off at the local movie theater, again, local, 25 minutes away, on a Friday night or a Saturday night to see a movie. There was a department store at the front of the parking lot, and I took the $5 I had been given to see that movie, went straight there, and they had a budget cassette rack. I had just gotten a Walkman for Christmas, and I would buy a tape, sit outside and listen to it until either the batteries died or I was picked up from the movie I was supposed to have seen. And they had a lot of 70s rock in that budget cassette for like cassette rack for like $4.98. And believe it or not, sometimes I had to actually dig up a quarter for just to cover taxes. Scorpions, Kiss's Destroyer. So again, you're around 1985, 1986 at this point. And Rush. Those are some of the cassettes, and I'm sure those are not the original copies that I remembered picking up then. You know, you get forward into middle school a little bit, junior high, and probably around 1987 now. Now I was really full-fledged getting into it. My Walkman never left my side. I wasn't buying a whole lot of vinyl because it wasn't portable enough. I had to carry these with me at all times. Listen to them. I walked to school, I biked to school. It was a long ride, and cassettes were the way for me to go. Some of the ones I can remember just burning a hole through and having bought were things like Motley Crue's Theater of Pain. I definitely got into Slayer when South of Heaven was released in '87, and very quickly got right into and just ate a hole through Show No Mercy. This one went on a long family car ride down to South Carolina with me and just played it non-stop. And other things, I got into Megadeth right around that time with this cassette, Peace Sells, and also got very, very into Metallica. I was a huge Metallica fan. So it wasn't really so much vinyl, it just wasn't portable enough. Moving forward into high school, not a whole lot changed that. This is 1989, 1990. Portable disc players, CD players are just starting to come out, and they suck, they skip. No one has a CD player in their car yet unless they have a huge paycheck. And so cassettes were still the way to go. They were still portable. I could still ride my bike with my Walkman, and vinyl was kind of starting to fade away here in the US at that point. So it just continued. The cycle continued just like it did in junior high. You go to the mall on a Friday night. You don't eat lunch all week because you save the $1.50 that you get every day from your parents to eat lunch, and you spend it at the end of the week if you've saved it on cassettes. Cassettes were also about $5 to $7 cheaper than CDs at that point, and saving your lunch money all week didn't give you enough to pick up a CD. And there was also a store that was maybe 15 minutes away that you could bike to that sold a lot of bootlegs, exactly like this. And these are two of the tapes that would have come from there. This is a Metallica boot. And it's no different than it is today. You know, you'd scan his racks of used stuff and you could pick up, you know, like a used copy of The Eye for maybe $7.98. This one I actually bought new. And then look at the bootleg cabinet, and they were a little more pricey. They were like $9.98, but you never knew what the sound quality was going to be. And now, of course, years later, I realized what a killing the guy made on these things because they were free to reproduce. So that's your first question. Your second question was, where do you see yourself in 5 years in terms of buying and collecting? And in terms of my collection, I'd say it's pretty well refined at this point. I know what I like. I make very few blind buys. Normally they go right, sometimes they don't, and I like that. But overall, I know what I like. I know what I'll listen to, and I know what I need to leave behind in the racks. Even though it looks cool, don't bring it home. Just don't. But where I'd like to see myself is forming better relationships with them. You know, just listening to them more, spending more time with them, knowing that I miss that from junior high and high school. You know, knowing these albums, and I have these all on vinyl now, of course, but knowing these albums note for note. Man, I miss that. In 5 years, I'd like to be back there. And lastly, Brother Lee's question was, hey, can y'all embarrass yourself? Show some pictures of when you first started getting into music, buying your own music, not listening to your parents' music. Now, I learned a couple of things from this. First of all, I have no problem embarrassing myself and giving y'all something to laugh at. I could really care less. And second of all is that my family was not very picture driven. So 70s, 80s. Here's the thing with film. It cost money to put film in a camera. It cost money to develop film. And that just wasn't something that was floating around in high volume, so it wasn't something that was done. Nowadays, you have 1.4 million digital pictures of your kids on 7 external hard drives that you've stacked up to backup. Or on your phones, and your phones I don't even understand taking pictures with phones. Let's not go there. It just doesn't make sense at all to me. Anyway, but that was the case then. So it's very hard to dig up some pictures. I did manage to dig up a few, and I'll let you take a look at them and close out the video with them. Here they are. But anyways, Brother Lee, congratulations on making it a year in the vinyl community, making vinyl videos. Dude, keep on going. Your vids are awesome. I look forward to everyone, and I do everything I can to catch everyone. I hope everyone dug this. Feel free to leave a comment if you have one, and I'll catch you in the next video. Later.